Hey YouTube, Rob here with another Commodore 64 game. This time it's Hunter's Moon, the what gets described in some books as a thinking-person shooter, which yeah, I can certainly agree with. Pretty much a one-person effort, well, more or less, by Martin Walker, who went on to do probably better known these days for actually a whole bunch of music stuff rather than game stuff, surprisingly. But he did do the audio for this, like which he did in some of his later games. Which music is Matt Gray, pretty damn good soundtrack. So I'll dive in this fairly basic track mode to start with. I do love the patterns in the background, which sort of goes through the basic part of the theme of the game. The central idea is you're the pilot of the Hunter. You've gone through a black hole and you're in another galaxy, and in order to get home you have to blast your way through these crystalline structures to collect star cells. And by doing that, there's 16 worlds, and once you do that, you eventually get home. So it's very interesting. We'll dive in. So to start with, we go straight in. Controls are your standard, like you push in the direction and move, and then you crash if you're clumsy. On the bottom, you've got the saw across the top. Bottom left is called a loop code. You earn it. I'll try and do that next. Then you've got the R becomes a countdown timer. You've got level of lives, the radar, and then your lives. So with the radar, you can see there's a little flashing white dot. When you start, the R just turned into an 8. Means you have 8 seconds to collect that flashing dot. Doing so collects part of this loop space code, and when you collect all 4 parts of that code, you can jump to the bonus stage. You can also jump to the bonus stage when you actually complete this star map. So now we've gotten the first part of the code, which is a little 7, and we've also completed the first stage. So basically use the joystick diagonal controls to select which node to go through. To clear the system, you have to actually clear all those nodes. So this system, so we'll dive in. So we've got the next system, we've got the next piece we have to destroy. When you do collect a piece, your ship starts flashing as you've got temporary involvement against the weapons. Now, at the moment in this first system, the aliens aren't actually attacking you. But when you get to the second stage, then, which is about as far as I can get. It's one of those things where I think you need a more precise joystick than the trusty Atari joysticks, or their USB recreation like I'm using now. That's the second stage done. Again, try and get. So for this first system, because there's only 4 levels you need to go through, it's not that important to actually get the code. But right now I actually have it all, so I could. Right, so because I have the full code, I can now enter the sub game. And doing so means I actually don't need to complete the last stage of this first system. So the idea is you're a fixed position, use the joystick to rotate, and you destroy those 8 white works which lead the trails. Ultimately I got blasted there, so that's it. And now I've entered system 2, which as it tells me, beware of attackers. So you can sort of see, by what was happening in the sub-game, what the attackers were doing. They're just firing little pieces at you, 8 directions. So that's sort of, we'll see. Let's get that to the basic concept underway. And right as I got game over. So essentially, one of those things in terms of design is more, it's sort of a thinking person's game, because you can't rush into like a normal shooter because your ship has that weight, that momentum. So you can sort of see you've got inertia, you have to accelerate up, and it makes it feel a lot more interesting compared to most other shooters of this style. So you've got to sort of you've got to carefully plan your outs, especially because those workers that are rebuilding the structures, they tend to follow a common pattern. So if you know what you're doing, you can follow that pattern through. So try to take this little. So yeah, the idea is, and ultimately that means trying to go through the extra coordinates is something that becomes a bonus challenge, not the actual main thing you need to be doing. Now you also need to work out which areas you can. For example, this piece right here, we couldn't go from the other side, as it was too heavily, too much structure. Let's try this again, see how we go. Oh, that was close. Ooh. But yeah, the graphics are nice. There's a lot of nice sprite animation for the player's ship. All the structures and the enemies and the workers are all character based, which I think uses the hardware quite well. That sort of helps with the slower pace of the gameplay. It's not about blasting everything as fast as you can, but rather moving through carefully, clearing sectors, and doing it. It's one of those things where I admit it's one of those games where I really wish it wasn't a modern system. You could use a analog controller. It would feel a little more. You have a little more control. But that might just be me being a little. Alright, I'll be on the table, so let's put a name in. One more shot. I'm going to go to this one because we've not actually seen this one. Yeah, it's a game that feels, maybe just being a little, modern sensitive, but it feels like it could really work with a twin stick setup. One direction for rotation, the other for strafe movement. Curses. And that thing just indicated that I'd ran out of time to collect the main. To like that given star set. So Oh, oh well. So there we go. All in all, what do I think? I mean, overall, I really love that tactical nature of the gameplay. You know, you don't just go through and shoot things indiscriminately. You have to sort of work your way around the patterns, work out the right place to blast through to get it. You know, timing it against the workers reconstructing everything. The controls are probably the weakest thing for me, and that I find that there's a little too much inertia. Maybe you need the right kind of joystick, and I don't have that. But there's a little too much inertia there, which kind of makes it a little harder. I mean, I would probably have made that not as strong in the game, personally. But I like that. Presentation's great. Excellent music in there. Nice sort of, like, structure. You know, there's that speed element in having to actually go for the... to level skip, to get the 4 pieces to get the code quickly, which, you know, as you would have seen, probably led to some rash actions. Leads to probably the player making rash actions. There's that pressure there. But the rest of the game itself has a much slower pace if you don't care about trying to beat the clock. So it's sort of a bonus when you know what you're doing, kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, there's 16 levels. I can imagine these patterns are going to get a lot crazier, a lot more deceptive. Other than that. Anyway, like listen, I hope you enjoyed this. I gave you a good look at the game. I really wish I was better at it. It's one I do enjoy playing. I'm just terrible at it. Thanks for watching, and as usual, you know, like, subscribe, share. If you enjoyed the video, and let's see me on. Hopefully we'll bring you another video soon. Thanks.